We work very hard to bring Waco good coffee. I've been dreaming of being a roaster since I was 18 years old. I've been in the coffee industry for, I guess, 6 years now. I started Pinewood because it's always been a dream of mine to be a coffee roaster. I always found coffee roasting as a very interesting hands-on experience, and I've always wanted to work with my hands. We opened Pinewood Roasters. It was January of 2015, so we're going on a year and a half being open now. First sale was April 15th, 2015. And it was 2 bags of coffee. Felt really good. Me and JD met at Common Grounds. I was the head barista there, and he was a manager. And he and I kind of hit it off from the beginning. The more we kind of talked, the more we realized that we were different in all the right ways. He's a numbers guy, he's like a systems guy. I'm more of a dreamer type. And so we complement each other really well. And once we figured that out, I was like, hey man, I've had this idea for like 6 years, let's do this. And so he jumped on board and we did it. We get our coffee from all over the world. And so we've had coffees from Ethiopia, Kenya, Colombia, Guatemala, Panama, Burundi, Malawi. You can take a trip around the world metaphorically through coffee, and so I've always thought that it was so cool in that way. The specialty coffee world is focused on transparency, it's focused on sustainability. Any of my customers, if they want to know where exactly, not just the country that this coffee came from, but the farmer's name. I know every coffee that I have here, I know the farmer's name. I know what region in the country he lives in. I know how much it's hurting him to sell his coffee, because as Americans, a lot of times it's sad. Bigger companies go in and buy coffee for as cheap as they can get it. The specialty coffee world will go in and pay fair wages to farmers, things like that. I've never had a problem with telling people how much I buy my green coffee for, because ultimately I'm not trying to make a killing off of it. I'm trying to do business right. The way we roast is, it's called profile roasting. We chose profile roasting because profile roasting kind of comes along with the specialty coffee movement. It ensures that it's always the same. It's easier to develop taste and things like that. But as far as our own method and our own take on profile roasting, that's something we developed. You could say that it's taken me 6 years to develop it, and it's taken JD and I the better part of a year and a half to really settle into our own roasting identity. What I like about our coffee is that you might have a coffee from Ethiopia and a coffee from Colombia, right? 2 very, very, very different coffees. One's gonna be really fruity and floral, one's gonna be really earthy and sweet. But they're both gonna taste like a Pinewood coffee, because I think our profiles, we have a very signature profile. I'll start with saying that all coffee starts off as green. It looks like a green bean, and it has to be roasted in order for it to be brewed. So if you were to take a green coffee seed, is what it actually is, and put it in your grinder, it would break your grinder because it's rock hard. This is our Diedrich IR12. The Diedrich roaster was developed to give the roaster, the person behind the machine, complete control over basically every variable. It's temperature, it's airflow, and time. And so we can really mess with things, and we can make really interesting coffee with this machine. So we have our roaster hooked up to a computer, and it basically measures temperature over time, right? And we map out what each coffee profile looks like. It helps us ensure that our coffees taste the same every time. It helps us play with coffees in a fun way. So instead of just guessing, being like, well, let's just change this at this time, I guess, we can look at a graph and say, okay, at 4.5 minutes, this coffee is at 276 degrees every time. let's change that and let's add a little bit more temperature so that at 4.5 minutes it's at 280 degrees. And that's gonna totally change taste. And then you cool it on that same machine, then you bag it, and then it's ready to go. In order to really fully understand the industry, we think that you need to start as close as you can from the source. We're actually working our way backwards through the industry now. So, started roasting, we're gonna start a shop here in a couple weeks. It's an old red brick building, just like this one, so we fell in love at first sight there. We'll be doing a full-blown espresso bar. There'll be bar seating. You can sit and read the paper and drink your coffee. And we'll also be doing some cool kind of like single cup brewing methods. We'll also have like coffee to go if you need it, right now until leave. We'll have bulk brewed coffee too. I think Pinewood is unique in the coffee industry, especially in the specialty coffee industry, in the sense that we try to do everything as perfectly as possible without being pretentious. We want you to have the best. We want all of Waco to have the best product that Waco could possibly have. And we want Waco to be proud of us. Pinewood's mission is to really work hard at befriending everybody in our neighborhood and everybody in our city, and to bring them an awesome cup of coffee.